Hello, welcome back. This is chapter 5 of the 15 laws. This is the law of consistency. Consistency is an interesting word. Consistency means that we're consistent, but what does being consistent actually look like? Has anybody ever been consistent? I mean, when I think about consistency, I think about doing something every single day. And that's a real challenging thought, right? A lot of people will just basically say, I can't I can't be consistent, right? I don't have the time. I don't have the time to be consistent, right? It's kind of funny to even think about. So I guarantee you that if you take this challenge of the law of consistency, the journey will be worth it. I think about the times where I was most consistent in my life, and it typically came from something that I really wanted to change. And you know what they say about change? Everybody wants to change, but nobody actually wants to change, right? They don't want to change to get there. Was I was a recovering gambling addict in my first couple of years, I was consistent. I was consistently number one, not gambling. Right, so I think that was the best consistency that I had going for me. And so I just want to impress upon you that the journey is worth the trouble. Whatever you're trying to change, it's going to take consistency. As a special ed teacher, I realized that students who were acting out, it needed like a 16-to-1 ratio. So that means that you need 16 positive results to every one negative result that you've already experienced, right? So for example, if somebody did something wrong 100 times, they would need 1,600 opportunities to do it the right way in order to change a habit, right? To create a new habit, right? Is it probably better way. So the journey is worth the trouble, and seeking to know oneself is the key to reaching your own potential. So you've come this far, and don't slow down. So that's exactly where I came to. When I realized that I didn't want to gamble anymore, I realized how good my life was. I had, I still have a beautiful wife. I had a home. I had a great job. I just completed my master's degree. I had great friends. And I thought about, man, if I got to this point with making all these horrible decisions, just imagine if I started making consistent, better decisions. Very, very important. So motivation is going to keep you going, but discipline is going to keep you growing, right? So motivation keeps you going, but discipline keeps you growing. And growth is not a single event, right? So to grow consistently, first of all, you need to know on what you need to improve on. Obviously, I've already talked about what mine was, and then you start to go, how do I need to improve, right? In what way? So it could be your motivation and personality. Start with the small things, be extremely patient, and value the process, right? This is a process. You're not just going to read this book and be finished with this book and go, boom, I'm a different person. You might think differently a little bit. You may act a little bit differently, but you're not going to necessarily change as a person unless you're consistent. So I love this quote by E.M. Gray. I'm going to read it for you. It says, "The successful person has the habit of doing the things that failures do not like to do. The successful person doesn't like to do them either, but his dislike is subordinated to the strength of his purpose." Right? It makes me think about when your why is that important, right? When your why is that valuable to you, the how is relevant. You're going to get there, right? And I was going to stop gambling. No matter what it was, I was going to stop. So the first question, do you know why you want to improve, right? So has quitting become a habit for you? What is it that you're trying to improve, and why? Right? Why do you want to improve it? That's the first thing. That's the first question I want you to think about. Do you know why you want to improve? And do you know when you're supposed to improve? So look at your watch. Tell me where you see someday. Is someday on your calendar? It's not on my calendar, right? So do you know why you want to improve, and do you know when you're supposed to improve? So what John talks about in this chapter is that it's time to stop setting goals, to move from being goal conscious to growth conscious, right? So being goal conscious focuses on just a destination. It motivates you for a short time. It's seasonal. It will challenge you. But typically you stop when a goal is reached. I've done this many times. I've completed 3 marathons. Every time that I complete a marathon, I don't run for months at a time, maybe 2-3 months. I gain back weight. I feel terrible about myself. And just to sign up for another race. So why? So I can just get back in race mode and motivate myself to keep that weight off and to keep moving forward, right? That's being goal conscious. But being growth conscious focuses on the journey. It matures you and others around you. It's lifelong. It changes you. You keep growing beyond your goals, and it allows you to take responsibility for your personal growth. All right? And it relies on just hard work, where goals sometimes depend on just good luck. Right? Goals you learn from mistakes. And when you're growth conscious, you learn before the mistakes. I talked about this in a previous video about the law of intuition. So being growth conscious, focus on the journey, okay? It's lifelong. It changes you. You keep growing beyond. I can't even imagine. How, I'm going to pat myself in the back here, but how far I've come, not only in the last 2 or 3 years, but the last 10 years. When I think about February 12th, 2006 was the last bet that I placed. So it's been over 10 years now. I can't even tell you if you would have known me then compared to now. I hope most of people would say that I'm just a much better human being than what I used to be. I'm still a jerk, but just not as much as a jerk as I used to be. So your potential is not an event, goal, or a product. Your potential is a constant journey of discovery, growth, and insight. Okay? It's not a product. You're not a product. You're a new, unique gift put on this earth to make a difference. But that difference starts inside of you, right? So if you develop the habit of success, you make success a habit. And this is what drives me crazy about a lot of people. They just think that, people are born with silver spoons in their mouth and are just given things. And no, that's not true. It's not true. Even if they were privileged enough to be born into great opportunities, they still had to work hard to get there. They still had to prove themselves to get there. They still had to influence people to follow them. It's because they believe in themselves and are consistent at what they do. So how do we become consistent? How do we do it, right? Jim Collins talks about the definition of a breakthrough. And a breakthrough is good decisions coupled on top of each other, compounding over time, will all of a sudden create a breakthrough, right? So good decisions, right? So go back to those questions. What is it that you want to be successful at? What is it that you really want to change? When do you want to change it? Right now. When do you want to change it? It's now. Or 10 years ago, right? Why do you want to change? And put it in your calendar every single day. Whether it's taking 10 minutes to read, 10 minutes to meditate, 10 minutes to exercise, 10 minutes to pray, 10 minutes to go spend more time with your kids, whatever it is. Just make sure you understand the why it's important, because that's all that matters. The why, right? Start with why, and then build your plan from there. I look forward to hearing how consistent you've become in the coming weeks. Thank you.